Grand existence, citizens of the universe. I'm Nicholas Denton, creator of JD's Pharmacopoeia, and I would like to step before you today so that we can talk a little bit about what's going on in the world and the extended universe. Because I woke up today and there was some foolery on the television and on the mainstream media, as there always is, and it's clear to me what's going on, but sometimes I find that hard to communicate to other individuals in my life, so please allow me to use this form of communication as a way to express a complete and uninterrupted thought, because that seems difficult nowadays. What I'm trying to say, basically, within all the tomfoolery, is that, Elon Musk says that he's like, if we believe we live in base reality, it's very unlikely. Like, we do live in base reality or top reality, but many of us do not believe it, nor do we understand what that really means. Now, what is happening is that there's a simulation of simulacra, and the best way to understand this is by looking at these holidays, these holy days, these artificial constructs that are projected onto the masses from the oligarchy, from the ruling class, from the neoliberal global hegemonic system. Okay, now why do I say like that, the neoliberal global hegemonic system? Well, it seems like every day nowadays there's a new freaking holiday that has occurred, and it's like usually a result of some social dilemma that we're facing, and then at an attempt to kind of provide recompense to some peoples or affected groups, we dedicate a whole ass day to say, hey, or months or whatever, to say, hey, this is a day of remembrance and recognition of these people. Now, this has evolved into like a modern kind of thing where there's all these days, right? There's too many days and everybody's got a days. And what this really is, to understand it simply, where it originated from was these fake fucking holidays. Now, within nature, there is a very precise, systematic, evolutionary scheme occurring. It is a developmental, natural progression of events, very similar to the human being as we mature from baby into adolescence into mature adult. But this happens on a societal, on a species-wide scale. But it's a very long process. This is evolutionary development we're talking about, and it takes a long time. But it's a system. It is a mechanical, spiritual system. And it occurs with the ruling class, the people who've been hoarding that kind of knowledge for a long time, have been able to sum it up into a single word. And they call it the tetragrammaton. Now, what the tetragrammaton really is an astrotheological system designed to overlay the mind. It is the simulacra that is veiled on top of our beings to take what is natural, evolutionary, developmental, and conscious energy to, instead of having that expressed on organic holy days. Now, trust me, everything is all equally holy, but there are some days when our system is aligned more precisely, more accurately with the source of life itself than on other days. Now, this tetragrammaton, it is the equinoxes and the solstices. You understand? These are the days when things are most aligned within you, organic and naturally. That's why all holidays fall around these days in some kind of a sequence. They're not precisely on it like they used to be about the planets, but now with this Abrahamic tradition and the surrounding flair from all the other ones that are branched off of the Abrahamic faiths, we find that the days which we quote unquote celebrate or which are significant to these traditions are just kind of askew. Like Lent happens a little bit before, and the days of Islamic fasting, I forget the day they call that, they fast for 30 days. It's not exactly over the springtime, and Christmas is not exactly on the winter solstice. And so we have got like, the whole system has been skewed just a little bit. And what this does to our collective psyche is we're out of track. We used to be in track, and now we're out of track. We used to be completely in harmonious balance and equilibrium with the universe, but because these overlays, this simulacra has been projected onto our entire culture, our energy can become, our thought processes, our consciousness itself, and its path of development and energy building can be altered. It can be deviated away from the path of easiest, what is it called? The path of least resistance, okay? Now, when you live in perfect balance and perfect harmony with the universe, you live in the path of least resistance because you're walking literally with the collective force of gravity. And they say, like in the books, with God on your side, who can stand against you? Now, what does that really mean? It means, because these are astrotheological texts, which are talking about the mechanical spiritual development of our souls, and so what the path of least resistance is to walk with God means that you're walking in full awareness of your creative abilities as a human being. And in order for us, me, you, according to the text, according to honestly my personal experience, when these days come around, and your birthday is one of these days too. So they always talk about the 4 fundamental forces. And then there's like a 5th hidden quintessence. That 5th hidden quintessence is your birthday. So this happens on your day too. And what it is simply the natural flow of life energy. Now, many scientists and intellectuals of our time would disagree that there's a universal life force, but I'm here to tell you that there's 2 types of people in the universe. People who know that everything is love, and those who don't. And those who do are constantly, quote unquote, leaving the matrix. They're getting outside of this artificial system of love or support, which I refer to simply as the state. Culture is dependent upon the state to provide them with their fundamental human dignities, like the things that's required to be alive: water, food, housing, healthcare, the opportunities to contribute meaningfully into society. We don't come up with those as a community. They are essentially dished out by the state. And what happens when we're not in alignment with ourselves or with the universe is that basically where attention goes, energy flows. And when you take your attention away from yourself and you stop believing in yourself and you start believing in these fake holy days, this Christmas, these Easters, these Ramadans, all these fake holidays, then your attention, instead of going into the natural course of development for your own life and your family's life, then gets funneled in into wherever your attention is going. It's typically outside of yourself. I'm here to tell you, if you think you're trying to escape, if you think you're escaping the matrix and you're continually pushing energy in attention into something that's outside of yourself, like these holidays, like all these materialist Christmas presents under the tree. Don't get me wrong, I love me some presents, but when you are constantly pouring your life essence outside of you to love the material world, your energy is being diverted into some other entity, okay? Into some other system, into some other symbol. And the world is controlled by symbols and numbers and letters and data, information, basically. That's why at the top of every religion that we have, there's always one religion with a giant symbol that represents the whole thing. It's an icon, it's an idol that all the attention and awareness that people express out of themselves in recognition of these simulacras, in recognition of, not of recognition, but it just happens unnaturally. Like the veil is cast over our mind, and then the truth is put before us. Like there is great wisdom in the myth of Santa Claus. There's great wisdom in the myths of Ishtar, it's Easter, but only the esoteric have the keys to unlock the wisdom of what these things really mean. They're locked away in secret societies. And so when we give away our energy freely to the universe, it can only come back. It cannot only come back. There are proper ways to do this and there are improper ways. I'm trying to highlight how we've been beguiled into giving our energy into our oppressors, giving our energy to the people which are using it not only against us, but they're using it to disempower innocent lives across the entire world. This is why it's a global hegemony, because our energy is being coalesced and stolen and used for evil. And if you think that's far-fetched, just look, and you're an American, look at your tax dollars, okay? Over 50% of your tax dollars goes to the military industrial complex, okay? I, for one, am never gonna be happy until we're taking at least half of our tax dollars and putting them back into the community. Like, we don't have a freaking community until we are investing over half of what we put into our community, or over half of what is coming out of our work for the community back into the community. You understand? Over 50% of it goes into death, warcraft, darkness, lies. And less than half goes into community building, education, okay? Building the family units, cultivating culture and wisdom. And there's a very clear reason for this. Well, it's not clear, but it becomes clear in hindsight. Essentially, what the solution here is to remember that the world is an indecipherable phenomenon which cannot be controlled. The world, as you perceive it through your five senses, is the beast. It's the beast of revelation. And what the beast wants you to do is become dependent upon it so that it can resurrect its own self indefinitely. Now, the beast doesn't really exist. It's just a projection of a shadow of our ego, okay? And as soon as we just like look at what's real again, which is within you, then this thing will just dissipate. That's why I tell people, like, we've got the power. I have the knowledge to take down every oligarchical society, every oligarchical institution, every tyrannical, oppressive institution that is existing in the world right now. And how do we do that? You take your energy and you put it back where it belongs. We stop giving it to these fake ass people on the internet who give us promises of a better world, because there's no other better world than a life that's already yours. As J. Cole said, there ain't no life than a life that's better than yours, or whatever J. Cole said, okay? the point he's making is that heaven is within your consciousness. Heaven is already on the planet, but we do not see it because we've been fooled and because our energies are being manipulated. The shepherds are herding us into creating more artificial worlds, more foolery, basically. They're not even real people. They're NPCs with programs that have been, their minds have been affected. But this is how the world runs. This is like how creation works. God is the ultimate drama queen who's here to make a scene of everything, to pull you and lure you into it. That's what the lure is. It's a luring mechanism to not entrap. The world's a freaking video game, okay? Death is not real. Pain is not real. But some people, because of the way our energy has been altered, we begin to like think that this game, this reality is the only reality and it's definitely real. And we begin to take this game a little too serious, a little too far. Now, what do I mean by serious? What is serious? I once asked a friend. Okay, it's just basically a kind of psychosis because, again, life is love. And when your energy is taken out of love and put into some artificial construct, you begin to create for another creator, okay? And it takes spiritual awareness to know how to create worlds. And your world is a world which must be created by you. No other entity in the history of entities is going to come along and create your own heaven for you. It's something that you have to seek out. You have to acknowledge. You have to want it and apply the discipline and the diligence in your own life to be able to achieve it and manifest it for yourself and your family and your kin. Okay? Nobody is coming to save you. There is no Jesus. Okay, again, I got kind of, something I missed, but it's like, that's what this artificial matrix is. It's the icons at the top of all these systems. It's Jesus hanging on the cross, okay? It's the Kaaba in Mecca, which they all circle around. And again, the cube is the symbol of Saturn. It is the cube on the forehead and the wall in Israel. It is Israel itself. The place, not the person or the state of consciousness of being one with God. It's the physical place. And you see, this is a prime example of how tyrants have beguiled us because they've taken something that's within us that is a part of the architecture of our DNA and externalized it into the physical world. That can be very confusing because you resonate so much with it, but really it's just an inversion of something that's already within you. That's how we're being manipulated. And now you may be concerned or confused, like, well, you may not be. I'm not even going to get into a hypothetical confusing talk because it is confusing because we are gods. And the symbol or the message is that, oh my God, my dad's calling. I have to get back on this. The message of these religions is that God is outside of you. And so they make us dependent upon a God which is external to our conscience. And that's the dependence right there. As long as you're dependent on some other entity, you're creating for some other entity. You are becoming a dependent. You become dependent. Now, we cannot be dependent. The goal of life, I don't want to spoil all of life for you, but I will. The goal of all life is to become sovereign. You are the mission. The mission is the body. To become supremely powerful over your own body, your own desires, your own temptations, your own thoughts, your own energies, and your own powers. Because once you have complete control over your own self, then you will have complete control over your own reality. And you will manifest a heaven into your consciousness, which is the true message of Christmas. And you will manifest heaven on earth, which is, I believe, the true reason for us being here. But it can't be done in the midst of all this, what I call just confusion, the beguiling, the darkness, the dark night of the soul. Our society is in a dark night of the soul because we have lost all sense of self-identity, which is ridiculous because all is self. Everything is a reflection of your mental reality. That's the first law of Hermeticism, the Renaissance philosophy that brought about intellectual reasoning. Okay, so basically, I think I said most of what I'm trying to say, and you can, you got to believe that it's really about you. Like, all this is about you. You are Neo. You are the chosen one. You are a God awakening into godhood, and everything in life is a symbol to clue you into that fact. Not only, but it is more obvious when you're directly in alignment with the universe's fundamental flow of natural energy. But when an intercessory fiction comes in and tries to delineate those energies by making you think some days are more holy than others, or some peoples are more chosen than others, or some gods are more powerful than others, then it fucks the whole fucking thing up. It becomes very difficult for anybody because we're talking about the power of God. And, people depend on God. Truly, that's the only one dependent we should have. But the thing is that God is within you, and it's not outside of you. It's not a part of the world. The world is a phenomenal illusion that inverts everything within you and splits it apart into different channels, into different streams of information, which are highly subject to misinterpretation. So how do you find the truth? How do you know what's really going on? You don't listen to fucking Andrew Tate, okay? You don't listen to Elon Musk. You don't listen to any of that bullshit, okay? If anything, you take some God-loving plant medicines, clean your brain, and synchronize you to the natural environment, and then go within yourself. Go within your own consciousness. Remember this axiom: if they are not leading you back to yourself, they are leading you astray, okay? Go within yourself and you will find an unlimited treasure, a treasure which makes you rich, makes you the richest man in the world, and completely self-dependent, completely self-reliant, completely sovereign. That's the name of the game. Just a friendly reminder where to look for answers, no further than yourself. With that being said, I think that's all I really wanted to express. Like, you are the answer. You have the panacea. You have the universe inside of you. But we've been living thinking that it's only what we perceive through our five senses, which we know is like 0.0, which is like 4.2 times 10 to the negative 22nd. Okay, that's 22 zeros, 42. That's a crazy number, right? But that's what the physical world is. It's mostly empty space. What we perceive of is like less than 1% of what's actually there. And not only are the ruling principles and authorities trying to convince us that what we perceive is the only thing that exists, but they're trying to tell us that what we perceive within it is one is more right than the other, and they've got us killing our brothers over this. Now, this is just a call for... Okay, so I'm going to cut this off before I run on forever, because I will, but this really is, we're all a big family. We're all different fractions of the one supreme, most high force of life in existence, and we all share that commonality. And that commonality is not outside of us, it's inside of us. So this is an implore. I implore you to seek the source of life within yourself, because that's the only way we can come to understanding. That's all I really have for you. Like, that's how you get out of the matrix. You're not going to go to wherever you're going to go. Like, I don't know what these people are saying now on you know, getting out of the matrix, because they say like the movie The Matrix was a documentary, but that movie again has demonized the truth. You don't get out of the matrix and then see yourself inside of some computer simulation that's being eaten by squid beings. Not to take away from the fact that there are people feeding off of our energy, but you get out of the matrix and what you realize is that actually heaven is here on earth, and people's egos, fears, and lack of awareness of truth is what keeps them believing that we need to be killing everybody, we need to be taking over land, we need to hoard resources, okay? None of that's true. But you need to be able to see from the top or base reality, like the core reality, what's really going on. And that is what is really going on. How do we sum it up in just one word? What's really going on is world enlightenment. We're coming to the world enlightenment, and the transcendental object at the end of time is approaching. It's approaching quicker and quicker with every ticking second. So that's all I've got to say, really. I'm JD. Everything I do here is an attempt to get you to meditate and to turn into yourself. And part of me coming to that conclusion was realizing that the world is drawing us away from ourselves, away from our families, away from love, away from unity, and towards just meanness, division, chaos, hate, dark energies. Like, dark energies control this world, unfortunately, but we're coming out of that age. We're going into the golden age. We're gonna fucking go, okay? There's no more waiting around. We have the keys, we have the knowledge, we're just gonna walk through the door. So we're all horses and we're at the water. You can lead a horse to water, you can't convince him to drink, you know, but eventually the horse gets thirsty enough and he knows. The horse already knows. You don't gotta lead the horse to water. The horse knows what water is good, he knows where it's at. So, I don't know, maybe they don't actually. I'm not an equestrian or what have you, but there is something to say about, like, animals know whether water is good or not. They don't have to test it analytically. They just drink it because it's within them. The truth is within them, and the truth is within you. That's all I got to say. Until next time, thank you for listening to me here ramble at the Pharmacopoeia. Again, I'm Nicholas Jensen Denton. This is my Pharmacopoeia, JD's Pharmacopoeia, inspired by me trying to express myself. If you need any plant medicine, feel free to call me. Look, I've got magnolia vine, magnolia berries. There's an outdated label. Ginkgo biloba, oldest living tree species on earth, cleans the brain, enhances cerebral functioning. Magnolia berries regulate the endocrine system. They affect the pineal and pituitary gland and the secretion of serotonin to align your endogenous molecular systems to be more harmonically entrained, literally, like I said, with the movement of the entire cosmos, key here being the sun and the moon as it revolves around ourselves and around our world. So that's all I have to say. Again, all right, I'm gonna go. Goodbye. I love you.